Hey, welcome back to the channel. So today I am excited to bring you the X-Men mansion that I will be placing in my Lego city today. I'd like to talk a little bit about the actual building itself, along with the minifigures that come with it, and then a expansion to this set that I think is a really great addition. All right, on to the minifigures. So I think the LEGO group did a pretty good job of giving us a good mixture of minifigures within this actual set. Starting on the bottom row, we have Magneto, we have Storm, Gambit, and Rogue. On the second row, we have Jean Grey, Iceman, Cyclops, and Wolverine. And on that top row, we have Professor X, and then we have Bishop. One of the cool additions to the set is the huge Sentinel off to the side there. I really appreciate that they included this in the set, and I think the minifigures are just spot on for this actual collection. Let's talk about the X Mansion. So as you can see, this is a considerable build. It comes on 3 different base plates, and you kind of push everything together in the very end. I do have it mills plated so that it can make a easy addition to the Lego city. As you can see, they do have some of these smaller trees. I wish they would have had a little bit of bigger trees and things on the actual build itself. I think that would have been really cool. But I do like that they use these brick elements to break up some of the building, the way it looks as you start building it. There are cool elements of things that you can add to it, so you can actually pose some of your characters. I don't have any of those on right now, but I plan on putting Magneto up here as well. But as we circle around, you can kind of see that it goes to the dark bluish color as we come around the back side. You can see that there is a basketball hoop, which, oops, drop the basketball. Let's see if I can make a set. Oh, darn it, not today. But they do have a basketball set back here. They have this piece here where you can pull it open. You can open the wall to the room that Professor Xavier uses, Cerebro. They have some doors back here that you can open up as well. And if we keep going around, you notice they got this really cool build here. I don't know what's with that frog there, but that is kind of the exterior view of the X Mansion. So let's take a look inside. All right, starting on the ground floor, let's peek inside and see what LEGO gave us. So as you can see, this first room here is just a room for those X-Men to sit down and kind of relax in between battling all of the other bad guys. We have the inclusion of a bookshelf, which is pretty cool. And then coming over to the center of the building, this is where you come through the front door. They've included a non-working elevator, but still cool build itself. And then they have the inclusion of that X on the floor for X-Men. I really liked building that. And then as we come through, a little area here, and then this is actually the training ground for the X-Men so that they can continue to train and get better at battling all of the bad guys. So that is the ground floor. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, so this is actually built into 3 different pieces. So what you'll do is you'll just take your section and you'll just add it on top there. And then we'll take this middle section, we'll add that, and then we will add our 3rd section. I kind of wish that they would have made it to where it was all one building instead of putting them pieces together, but I kind of understand why they did that is because each individual piece is kind of its own room. So as we come up here, we'll notice that we have a place for the X-Men to relax. There is Cyclops and Jean Grey there, a picture, and then the picture of the X-Men comic book on the floor. And then we come over to the next room. It's just kind of a little room for them to run things on their computers. And in the middle room, you can see is the lab. It's got level 1 on it, and that kind of incorporates that elevator downstairs. You can see a cool reference to Wolverine is adamantium there on the floor. And as we continue to come across, we actually have a place for the X-Men to actually view what's going on within the training lab below. So they add a little bit more to that training lab, and with the ability to actually view it and work the computers from that actual section. So great job. Just like that first floor, when it comes to the roof, you will actually just take those pieces off. It comes in 3 individual pieces, and you'll snap those pieces together. Oops. And then we'll do the top. And then we'll do the other side here. Oh, had it on backwards there. And so that is the entirety of the X-Men build. I really like the roof. I think they did a great job on that. And one of the really cool things is that there are play features in here, but if you want to actually have the Sentinel explode something, you can pull down on that lever here, and I'll show you what happens. So it totally destroys that dome up at the top, and of course it's easily rebuilt so that you can put the mansion back together. One of the things that I didn't note at the very beginning of the video series is that this here actually has some damage to the building, and what I did is I just took those pieces out and I made it to where it was actually fully enclosed. So you guys can choose to do that if you want to on your buildings. You can leave this open and it has like damaged exposed from the Sentinel, who normally goes about right here, and I'll kind of set that up in just a minute and show you guys that. But I wanted to just run you through that there is battle damage on this one. I just decided to go ahead and block it in to keep all the dust out, and I thought it looked pretty cool with the building actually intact. This awesome LEGO modular to our new city. One second here, roll it around, and we're actually going to put it next to this other Rebrickable model right here. Oh, Magneto's in the way there. We'll have to fix that. Put him right here for right now. And then we're going to go ahead and scoot this down. And then we're actually going to go ahead and slide over Arkham Asylum next to him. I know, Marvel and DC right next to each other. What could go wrong? But I think that it's going to work out really well. I will probably end up switching this around a little bit, but what I just wanted to show you guys is I am adding these, continuing to add these to the city. What I do plan on doing in a little bit is continuing the roads around and down. And then I want to get it connected to the Studgate station down there at the very end and have my train that I've been talking about. I'd like that to go around my city here soon. All right, so that's my official review of the X Mansion by the LEGO Group. And one of the things that I really like about this is how it is modular, and I'll be able to add it easily into the city. But every single time I get a modular, I always like to kind of compare it to the other modulars that I have within my city, just on size comparison. So let me pull over the brick bank really quickly. And I know this one is a corner modular, but it kind of shows you that the X Mansion is really not much of a mansion. It's actually rather small in comparison to the brick bank. So what I decided to do is, as always, I asked myself, what can I do in order to make this better? And so I decided to go ahead and go on to Rebrickable.com, and I actually found some instructions by a Rebrickable artist named Damien07. So for a little bit of money, I was able to buy those directions, and actually those directions allowed me to add another section to this building. So let's go ahead and do that now. So one of the sections that you actually get within the instructions is another classroom setting, along with a actual more bookshelves. So we'll go ahead and take this top piece off of here and add that. The middle section itself is a actual kitchen. So there's a sink, there's a refrigerator, and then of course he did include that that elevator in that build as well. So that elevator continues into his build as well. And then we'll take off the top section. And then the final section that he included is another classroom with some books on the wall and places for your X-Men to sit and rest as they are battling or resting after they're battled all of their bad guys. So let's go ahead and put the top back on here really quickly. All right, there we go. So let's bring the brick bank back over real quick. I broke a few pieces off it. That's okay. As you can see, it now looks like an appropriately sized mansion. So that's always something that I'm looking for in my Lego City is how can I try to make things a little bit better and make things a little bit bigger. And so this expansion from Damien07 at Rebrickable.com does a really good job with that. On the side here, it does have the same coloring and things like that, so you won't have to worry too much. On the other side, though, the coloring is different from that dark bluish gray. But overall, I think it's really consistent and looks really good, and it's a great addition to this Lego set. So what I would like your thoughts below. Is this something that you plan on picking up before, I believe, it retires this year? Is this something that you're planning to add to your Lego City? What are some things that you liked about my video today? What are some things that you didn't like? I'd like to hear that as well, or any type of questions that you have for me. But that is the X Mansion. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I would probably give it a 7.5, just because of the amount of stickers that were in here, and in having to add this additional section up at the top to make it actually look like a mansion. Going back to the expansion set that I added to this, I would say it probably came to around $50 to $55 from bricklink.com. And a lot of that is because I already had some of the pieces in my actual inventory. So if this is something that you guys think that you might want to pick up, like I said, I do think that it is retiring at the end of the year. So you might want to make that decision now. Of course, that is only a rumor. Things could change and the Lego group could decide to keep this around for another year. But I have heard that they plan on retiring it this year. So if you've really liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe. I will have more content coming out with reviews of some of my other builds that I've got going on in the background, things to add to the Lego City. I also will be starting a backlog series here pretty soon, which is going to be really exciting. I'm actually going to start diving into my backlog and getting things completed so that I can go ahead and cross that off the list. But like I said, if you guys do like this type of content, please like and subscribe. And as always, remember to keep building memories one brick at a time. We'll see you in the next one.